that first epicenter that he landed, pretty good.
Yeah, but then again, like you guys mentioned, after that start, the Sven was playing. I mean, Alohadans was playing like he was in a pub game. He was going on his own, trying to get solo kills, and he got some kills, but he died like a few times where he didn't even get the kill, and he was really bad for his team. All he needed to do that game was make sure he get farm, consistently farm, clear ancients, play around with his team with the vacuum combo, and as long as that happens and he has BKB every team fight, it's very difficult for Fnatic to fight early because they lost their lanes. Juggernaut and Ember were very far behind compared to the Sven.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about Na'Vi. I think Ben began talking about some of the issues that we saw get exposed yesterday against Secret with their drafting. Execution-wise, they had definitely looked like the cleanest team in the tournament up to that point. And I remember we on the couch yesterday coming into that series were talking about they might be the favorites at that point to win the whole thing. So you think they got exposed a little bit, Ben?
Yeah, I think the Naga had like really no part in that first game draft. I think
that was a weird one.
Also, they lead the draw and yet they like lose to it. I forgot who asked yesterday like their win rate against Draw Ranger, but it can't be that high. It's not like they have like an 80% win rate against Draw Ranger, and Draw Ranger still wins a lot of games. So
well, you don't think the Naga game he was picked in the right situation, or do you think the hero is weak?
I do not think it was picked in the right situation. I didn't think they had a you don't want to initiate into the Tidehunter ulti, and like the one time they could have used it to save the egg, they didn't. So like maybe it could have worked there, but I even think that's a little bit weak. I like it much more against the Phoenix, so you can sleep and just kill the egg, and none of the teammates can do anything. I like that a lot more. I also just think it was just way too slow. I don't really view Na'Vi as a 4 protector.
Yeah, I feel like the situation for Na'Vi to pick Naga Siren is very fewer situations than any other team because it's Na'Vi and they don't it's not a Na'Vi playstyle.
Yeah, that's something that I really like. We've seen that certainly highlighted in this tournament, but it's been developing throughout this patch in the metagame that there are multiple viable styles. There's not necessarily any one best style or one brand of Dota that's going to win. Na'Vi plays a completely different brand of Dota from Team Secret, for example, but I felt like if they draft the right way, they still give themselves a fine chance to win. They just didn't draft in that right way for their playstyle.
Yeah, I would like Coddle Naga for them, but they don't run Keeper that much. I like that combo a lot more because you can kind of shore up your early game with the Keeper, and then the Swift push is like even like exacerbated by the recall. So.
But the issue with that pick is it's not their type of hero.
Exactly.
Yeah, their early game supports are like Bane, Io, Chen. Yeah. They want to play that way, and they are hoping that by being aggressive, it gives them a lot of space for the Naga to actually get farmed.
Yeah, but Dendi also farmed a lot that game too. Like, or
was he like Timber?
Yeah, he was Timber in a safe
lane.
Yeah. He's out there for a while, and then, anyways, this is one of the fights from the Secret Na'Vi game where they try and start off on Arteezy. Boba pops his ultimate, gets Winter's Curse, and Arteezy is outside of the curse, finishes off the Winter Wyvern, and Eternal Envy's free to shoot arrows from the outskirts of the fight.
This game, the Abaddon was such a good pick. Like with the Aghanim's, he deals with the Curse and then the shield for the Bat Rider and the Slada.
Yeah.
Abaddon was very good this game.
And Lifestealer too.
It gave them multiple ways to deal with that Bat Rider, right? Because they also had the Oracle for his source of cleanse. Now, I really was impressed in that game with Team Secret's adjustments as the game went on, because they were really getting owned in a couple of engagements by the Winter's Curse, by the AoE potential of Na'Vi. As the game went on, the positioning by Envy and Artur on the Drow and the Storm Spirit was very, very good. They began to kite those abilities to force those solo Winter's Curses, and that's when things really started to head downhill for Na'Vi.
Yeah, they're finding a few heroes that work very well with them, like Abaddon plus Omni Knight. Like, I think these two heroes are heroes that sort of make their style very good because it helps the cores play very aggressive. Like Arteezy and Envy like to play very aggressive, and having Abaddon and Omni on their team is very good.
It's kind of like what OG do, where they pick a lot of defensive save supports in some ways, would you say? Or
the Dazzle,
I mean, they're
Io.
different heroes, yeah. But it's the same concept, I guess, where you have these aggressive playmaking cores. Like with OG, it's Miracle and No-Tail, but you have these players that can always save them and get them out of trouble.
Yeah, different heroes, but same concept. Yeah. Their heroes are probably much better in the lane, like the Dazzle plus the Io. But Abaddon and Omni Knights, you could say it's better in overall team fights and if you get farm. Like, for example, the Aghanims on the Abaddon yesterday was really, really big.
Yeah, if that Abaddon doesn't have that level of farm, I think that game can go very differently. But
yeah, the Midas, good pickup.
Seems good.
I've never seen Midas on Abaddon, though.
Oh, you haven't played enough NA pubs.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen that Abaddon in like countless NA pubs.
That's the off-lane Abaddon heavy farming, definitely an NA special. that's another question to me. We're going to talk about this, of course, as we go into our grand finals with Secret awaiting the winner of this series. Secret has shown just an amazing variety of drafts and strategies here. I mean, not necessarily any one thing that's going to stand out, but just a lot of different looks. The Iron Talon jungle Vanomancer, for example. Of course, the offlane Abaddon. The Morphling together with Shadow Demon. Not necessarily anything that nobody's ever heard of before, but a lot of different strategies. I do wonder a little bit, Na'Vi hadn't necessarily had a chance to practice against a lot of those lineups, and just their execution in late game fights looked like a little bit shaky just due to unfamiliarity. I kind of wonder if they had those games to play over again, if they might have done a little better in some of those late game engagements.
I actually think their mid game was more suspect. Like, remember when they got mega creep and then they still held on for like 10 minutes and won some fights.
Right.
I think like their 5 to 15 was unusually bad for them. Maybe it was because they only had 4 heroes fighting at some point, but there was something off in that mid game where I think that's their biggest strength.
That's true. That's true. That's been over the last couple of months as Na'Vi has shown this consistent improvement and kind of climbed the leaderboards in a lot of these different tournaments. That's the period of the game where they're generating their advantages fairly consistently. But again, though, when we talk about Na'Vi and Fnatic, these are two teams that have shown a lot of this consistent improvement throughout the year. Haven't seen them on top of the podium. And I think that's potentially a very, very big deal when you talk about going into TI now a week away.
Yeah, I mean, these are not teams really in the discussion for winning TI, despite the fact that Fnatic has finished 5th place at 2 majors in a row. And despite that, people aren't talking about like, oh, Fnatic, one of the top contenders to take TI. No, they're never winning championships. Same for Na'Vi. They're always kind of in that top. I mean, as far as non-Valve events go, they're in the top 2, top 3, and then the Valve events they've done reasonably well also. So
Fnatic isn't really even consideration for top 1 at this tournament, I think, like, which is very questionable considering like the top 4 aren't here. So like if they can't even take top 1 at this one, going into TI definitely.
I think they're looked at as like a likely top 8 team at TI.
Yeah, definitely.
Top
I think
six,
they're like
top 6.
Yeah, they're like 5th, 6th material.
It's
easily.
like 5th, 6th if they're playing well.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing. But if they're playing really well, are they even like a top 1, top 2 team? Hard
Well,
to say
the
for sure.
thing with them is I feel like they don't have enough depth yet. Like when you compare them to teams like Liquid and OG and even Wings, they just have so many things that can work for them. For Fnatic, you know that they have to play around their early game and then they group up and push. That's some of the drafts that worked very well was like Medusa in the previous tournaments. And obviously they prioritize a lot on picking early game heroes, Ricky, Chen, Enchantress. Like they have only like one way to win their games. They win early game, they 5-man, they push, they end the game. But for OG Liquid, they have so many ways, like different very, very cheesy ways. They play a lot of heroes. It's very difficult to draft against them. But for Fnatic, you kind of know what's coming from them. Same goes for Na'Vi.
Teach your boys to play Huskar, man.
But they know how to
do.
play.
Teach your boys to.
They pick Huskar, but they should have put Mushi on the Huskar. They had Mushi on Invoker that game. And
That was.
Yeah. But that was the game. That was the game after which they made the adjustment and went back to 3-4-3
I mean,
drafting.
yeah. To be fair, that was the game before they made the current adjustment. That was
Right.
when Mushi was drafting. So probably right now, if they pick the hero again, Mushi would play Huskar. But I'm not sure because I think that he doesn't like to play the hero based on my experience with him. So he probably won't get that hero unless Midon's playing it. It seems like it's a hero that fits their tempo and playstyle, but it's rather strange that they're not adopting that hero into their repertoire.
I would agree with that. Let me throw out a stat to you guys that I just tweeted out. So you guys may or may not be aware, like, according to some of the advanced metrics, the Summit 5 was one of the top 5 most Radiant favored tournaments that we've had in Pro Dota 2 over the last couple of years. It turns out at this tournament, before 30 minutes, Radiant's 5-1. Between 30 and 40, it's Dire's 9-7. After 40 minutes, Dire is 7-1.
That's normal, right? Because late game, it favors the side that has easier access to Roshan. And if you look at the past, right, last TI, if you look at specifically EG, when they're on Radiant, they always play a push strat. And when they're on Dire, they'll play like Enigma type, go late game, heavy team fight. That's
Okay,
like
so
the concept.
not too surprising?
Yeah, not too surprising for me. I think Dire has always been better as long as you draw out the game and you get Roshan.
Okay.
And for Radiant, you need to push. And before that, it was because TeamSpeak Radiant was because of the camp, the rotation where you actually farm better on the jungle.
Yeah.
But right now, it's probably more or less even if you compare to Dire because it's much more difficult to abuse it.
All right. Well, as you guys can see on the screen, we do have a draft up. This is game 1 of our best-of-3 series between Fnatic and Na'Vi. And right away, Fnatic going to show a little bit of a new wrinkle. We're going to see 2 Invis heroes taken first to Ricky, who going into yesterday had been banned into 18 out of 20 games, but never picked. He was picked in several matches yesterday. Bounty Hunter, I believe this is the first Bounty Hunter pick of our tournament. 30 matches so far coming into today. This is the first BH pick.
This is like a mirror pick, you know. Both the heroes are aiming to do the same stuff for their team in the early game. And like I said, Fnatic and Na'Vi have very, very similar playstyles. They always have a support that help them stabilize, scout, win the early game. And these 2 heroes are... I would argue probably Ricky is stronger than BH right now, than doing what he's doing compared to BH.
Yeah, you guys mentioned yesterday that Team Secret in both of the matches against Na'Vi banned Wisp and Sand King first phase. Here is the first phase Sand King pickup by Na'Vi, and that's a hero that's gained a lot of prominence in this tournament as a mid laner or a solo laner against a melee core. Really punishes with those changes to Caustic.
Well, I think the weakness of the hero is when he goes off lane and he doesn't get help, then the hero becomes very, very weak. Because the games that the Sand King was run offlane successfully, he was either aided by Enchantress or Chen. Like if you leave the hero there alone against a tri lane, the hero doesn't do anything, and you can't jungle now from the start. It's very slow.
We even saw some Dazzle Sand King from them during the summit as well, in a dual lane. But you've got the roaming Bounty Hunter, so if you're doing like a Dazzle Sand King, then you've got no one for your safe lane, which it does mean it limits what heroes you can pick and play there.
Yeah, you need to have a very good lane to zone him out, and maybe you have to consider banning the Enchantress and Chen as well. Maybe that's what Fnatic are thinking, because they understand that to make the Sand King successful, either you have to help him or you put him in mid lane where he gets a good 1v1 matchup.
And Na'Vi is one of the few teams who still run this like 3 solo lane with 2 roamer kind of thing, where you have Artstyle playing the jungle, Saniko playing a Bounty or some kind of roaming hero. So. And
then the safe lane would be like a Timber, like in some of the games that Timber. Maybe like a Weaver would be a similar replacement where you have a core that doesn't need protection and he scales pretty well. So it allows your support to run around and gank.
Fnatic banned the Timber. I think recognizing that they're going to need some of those kind of self-sustaining solo heroes.
So Fnatic will finish off their first phase with a Void pick. Certainly a hero that's been valued very highly by a lot of teams. A lot of first phase bans throughout the tournament. It's not as much direct synergy, though, with the Ricky.
It's very similar to the Sand King because basically Void is an offlaner that's very, very hard to zone. It's very difficult to zone, and if you have BH, it means there's only 2 heroes in the lane. So immediately Void has a very good chance of having a successful early game.
Still, though, the thing I'd worry about if I were Fnatic, if you're going to put him in that offlane, yes, he's difficult to zone, but Na'Vi have shown over the last couple days that they're willing to put Dendi in a solo matchup in the safe lane against the offlaner.
So
and Sand King really punishes those melee heroes.
That's true. Sand King Void is a matchup where Void is going to have a very tough time.
Right.
For the most part, Void's very happy with 1v1 matchups, but yeah, Sand King probably rougher than most.
I think it'd help Fnatic a lot if they could actually run Void in the safe lane a lot more. I think it's...
They do that. I remember they did. Like maybe, yeah, they did run it on Mushi a couple of occasions, but not so frequent. It's mostly, I would say, more on Ohio's part to play the hero. But if you want to get a better matchup, I guess that's the other thing that you have to strongly consider, that Sand King just beats Void straight out. Yeah, and Dazzle is like one of the best supports to zone Void because you need damage over time. Poison Touch provides you with that.
So looking like it will be the Saneko Bounty Hunter, one of his signature heroes, along with the Wisp, and will be Artstyle on Dazzle again. Artstyle very often will be in that aggressive dual lane with General. You think about the Batrider Wisp that they've shown. You think about another Witch Doctor. He's always willing to go up to that top lane, especially on the Radiant side, and create some chaos.
I wonder if they're actually going to go for the Enchantress to win the lanes. That it's still possible for them. But
for who?
For Fnatic.
Fnatic. But it's weird.
With the Ricky Enchantress?
Yeah, it's weird with Ricky, though.
I feel like Fnatic always pick a laning support. Like, they'll only do the Enchantress if they have like a laning support to go with it.
But Ricky can't really help against those heroes, though.
Yeah,
So the AA, which is interesting in that it sort of pre-counters the Husker Alchemist, which were very much on the table for Na'Vi. And again, you know, I'm not saying that we'll ever see this again, but we did see EG pull out the solo mid AA yesterday in combination with a Shadow Demon. That didn't work.
No. And the AA good against the Grave, has good synergy with the Void.
It doesn't really secure their safe lane, though.
No,
Right.
I think
that's what I was looking
Their
at.
safe lane might be dangerous now.
it's
Like
super suspect.
Sand King plus, you guys mentioned Sand King plus Dazzle. If they want to do that, might be.
And Bounty Hunter? I
Yeah,
think
Bounty.
Bounty like crushes AA when he's trying to play greedy.
Fnatic needs some really. I mean, the Jug would have maybe been okay as far as not dying. I don't know what Fnatic have in mind for their safe lane farmer here.
The Mirana is still on the table for them as a mid hero. Synergize is okay with the Void. Mid 1 also. We haven't seen the mid 1 Invoker very often in this tournament, but definitely like that hero.
It was
banned
yeah.
very
Oh
often
yeah,
in the
they just
second
banned.
phase.
Okay, of course, of course.
You know, if Na'Vi don't have good physical, the current 3 heroes are not very good against Huskar if Fnatic decides to pick the hero.
I think Fnatic might pick it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the lane is really rough against Sand King Dazzle though. Like because you're not getting the points early on in your passive.
I mean, you can probably do something like what Na'Vi did, put the Huskar mid, if you can get a good matchup.
Yeah, I can see that working.
It really depends on what Na'Vi goes for here for Dandy. Or they're going to put Dandy on Sand King on safe lane. If they feel like Void is 100% going off lane.
I mean, they can still Sand King mid too. They don't know what the lane's going to be.
I like that pick. Na'Vi are gonna block the Mirana from Fnatic,
Yes.
and that's a hero that I thought would have been very, very good with the Void.
In general, normally the one who plays the Mirana for Na'Vi.
Don't
They
they,
are
don't they
flexible.
play it on Dandy as well? Like,
Yeah, and all 3 of their cores play it, but I think most common has been general as far
Lately,
as this
yeah.
goes.
And Fnatic is going to go back to the mid 1 Ember Spirit, which is something that just absolutely crushed Moo's Broodmother in lane yesterday in the final game against DC. Not as obvious how that Ember is going to fare in lanes in this setup. I'm not liking this Fnatic draft so far.
Sand King has 2 heroes that he doesn't
Just
mind
crushes in
doesn't
lane.
mind going up against.
Yeah.
So I think this gives Na'Vi a lot of flexibility in terms of wanting to get a very good 1v1 matchup for Sand King. And right now, Mirana, also a very flexible pick for them. They can go Mirana in all 3 lanes.
I just don't know why that. I don't know why that AA isn't a Witch Doctor.
AA counters
I think
Dazzle is most is the
Yeah,
big part of that.
It counters Dazzle.
Does it
and
really counter Dazzle that hard though?
it prevents the Huskar pick, maybe because they
Yeah,
feel
it
like
prevents the Husker.
they
sure.
didn't ban Huskar, so they are like sort of like nowadays you have to draft proof yourself against so many heroes.
Yeah, they see the Dazzle and they're like, if they 4th pick Husker, can we win? And they're probably thinking like, we may just automatically get outdrafted because of that. So.
But if that's the thing, right? Do you really need to counter? Do you really need to pick the AA third if you're going to do that? I guess you can't pick the Witch Doctor third because then you have nothing to.
They
go
also want to
against that, so that's fair.
They want to
That's
hide
fair.
their cores a bit longer. They want to wait to pick the Ember until they know more of the draft. If they don't want to pick the Ember third and then reveal it, give Na'Vi a chance to counterpick it.
So what are we thinking?
But it's
for
already
Mushi?
counterpicked, right? Kind of with the same.
Sort
game.
of.
Yeah, they kind of picked into it, but we mentioned like they're somewhat limited.
Yeah, fair enough.
Cool.
I mean, the laning stage is rough, but we saw what mid one. I think it is one of mid one's best heroes, hands down.
Oh,
Yeah,
easily,
definitely.
easily. There's no question about
So
that.
I'm totally okay with Fnatic picking it even into a Sand King.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
The Mushi hero.
Yeah, Mushi. We saw him on that hero yesterday. Pretty good performance there.
He's still a pretty short range hero though. I'm not sure if Na'Vi are going to consider Sand King against that lane or they're going to just have Sand King destroy Ember 1v1 mid.
But it does give you, between the Chilling Touch and the Lunar Blessing Aura, that Luna and AA lane is a little bit scarier.
That's the dream lane to like pressure the 3-on-2. I think like if you have 3 heroes there, like these 2 heroes can just easily feed over and over again. And then you have to call in your Riki to help because Faces with the Ember can't really help that early. So
basically right now, it's like more or less Na'Vi's going to have a very good laning phase with Mirana. And Klinks as well. Klinks is very good versus the Void.
They might do Klinks mid and do the Sand King versus the Void as well. It's possible, but...
Wait, General's on
No,
Sand?
I think this is going to be
General's on
aggro
Sand
duel.
King.
Oh yeah, you want the Sand King? Oh, wow.
Sand King Dazzle up against the safe lane.
Yeah. Sand King.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to throw it over in one moment for the cast, but WinteR, give me your final thoughts here because I really like this Na'Vi draft.
I think Na'Vi's going to win the laning phase and control the game. Basically, who wins the early game will just control the game in this matchup.
All right, with that said, we're going to bring in Dakota, KotLGuy Cox, and Giannis Fog Lucas here for our cast. Guys, take it away.
Thank you so much, Nahaz. And WinteR, here we are. We're getting ready to hop into our second to last series of this Starlighter I-League Invitational. Should be a hype one. Going to be joined by Fog, Fnatic versus Na'Vi. We look at the draft now. Your early impressions.
I feel like we've seen these 2 teams play versus each other before.
A couple of times.
A couple of times within the last week, I think.
Yeah, this is turning into its own mini version of El Clasico. We'll get into the action now, and we'll get started here. So, You know, I made the joke about it the other day. You know, originally coming into this tournament, Ricky banned every single game along the way. He finally sees the light of day, and we do see some teams pull out something like this where they're like, you know what, you're going to get that Invis annoying hero, we're going to get one of our own. And they pull out the Bounty Hunter. WinteR at the time made the joke that Bounty Hunter is just worthless and doesn't pales comparison to Ricky, but what do you think about it here and now with the two literally going to be head-to-head right now?
I think they both they match up versus each other pretty well. I think Ricky's a little bit better just because Smokescreen's quite powerful right now. But taking a look at Fnatic's draft, very similar. We do see 3 shared heroes from yesterday's games. Their first game of the day, or their first game yesterday. In that last series, they picked the Ember Spirit, the A, the Ricky, so 3 similar heroes, and then they picked a very tri-core lineup here. So like WinteR was saying, Navi's lineup has a bit of an advantage in the early game, in the early laning phase.
Typical Navi lineup. They're going to look to kind of get the action rolling sooner than later, and if things work out to their benefit, they'll probably try to get a quick level 6 on the Bounty Hunter, build up the track gold, and really try to ramp up the pace before even this Luna or Ember can be a factor in the game or not. So we'll have to see. Looks like we could see some possible early action here. It looks like Fnatic with their advantage in numbers are just going to take over this top rune and leave Navi with the bottom one instead. Don't imagine we're going to be seeing too much funny business in the laning here. They were talking about on the panel how much emphasis they were going to put on maybe helping out this Clinks in the bottom lane, but it looks like Navi are pretty confident on letting him do his own thing and then having the supports kind of change up pace here, or at least move around a bit.
Yeah, they actually are kind of leaving him a bit alone, which I think Fnatic's going to punish. I think the Ricky's going to start bottom just like he did yesterday, and we do see him already making that initial movement to put the pressure on. They tend to do this a lot for Ohio. They want to secure his lane, get him a good start. He is spotted, though, by that Obs and Sentry Ward combo, so Chira is more than aware this is happening, and Seneko already making the move down here.
He's like, there he is. Here I come, my Invis comrade. And both of them will have to poke at each other quite a bit. Leaves Dendi to have the one-on-one matchup, while Navi do have the Dazzle hanging around that top lane in conjunction together with the Sand King. So we'll have to see who is this laning stage. What's it more important for either side? Is it for Navi to kind of, more important to get the ball rolling sooner than later and claim a laning advantage over Fnatic? Or do Fnatic hope to at least break even and be able to build up more of their greedy lineup?
Well, Fnatic definitely hope to break even. It's definitely up to Navi to put the pressure on, and they should be able to with their heroes and with their lineup. Like this Sand King Dazzle should actually put a lot of pressure on the Luna, because I think WinteR actually mentioned it. I didn't actually catch all of what he was saying, but Luna's a very short-range hero, so you're actually able to get caught with the Caustic and with the stun and heal combo.
Yeah.
So you have to watch your positioning a bit in that lane as the Luna, even the AA.
That combo is vicious, so something obviously Fnatic are going to be wary of and try not to get the Luna caught out too many ally creeps. But yeah, Seneko.
Oh, the bash!
Oh, gets the bash connection, which means that they're going to get the first blood. 3-4-3 will pick up the last hit, and Fnatic will strike first.
I don't even know how often I see that anymore, or how I feel like I see it every single game. Someone gets like double bashed or something, and they die because of it. Because Seneko was perfectly fine there if he didn't get bashed.
And with the lack of Spirit Breaker seeing play, we need someone else to kind of take the reins of that 17%. Even though I know the numbers don't match, it does look like the bash seems to work out when you sometimes need it the most.
Seems like that 10% might be a little bit higher than 17%.
Yeah, right. The mighty frog numbers, if you will. But how's this mid lane matchup going? 8-1 for the Ember Spirit. Dendi, though, up and above. 12-3.
Should be pretty even. Dendi should maybe pull up a little bit ahead, just because Dendi is very good at these matchups when he's playing like ranged versus melee. He's good at just controlling the creep wave and denying a bunch. But mid one as well is very strong in this lane. Dendi maybe leading like a couple CS, but nothing too crazy.
Top lane, first so Nico, after he goes down in the bottom lane, joins action at the top, which helps with the heal bomb factor a bit, and they try to burst down Mushi. They almost get down that Sand King, but the Shallow Grave is going to be coming out from Art Style, and we'll keep him alive and well. They look for a second kill on DJ, and they're going to get it. Burrow will cancel that TP, and Navi's come right back into the game now, 2 kills their way.
Perfect movement by Seneko. Dying bottom, then he just moves top and gets like just a perfect window of opportunity there for him. Double kill, more than ideal.
The power of having these Invis 4-position supports who are able to be around the map, you just have to kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You kill him, you take him out, where's he going to pop up next? And it caught Fnatic a little bit of surprise there in the top lane. So we'll have to see if Fnatic take a page out of the Navi book and maybe get 3-4-3 around the map a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how they really emphasize just on Ohio so much, especially like I saw them do it yesterday too. Oh, no way. Seneko gets the kill on the courier with the empty bottle on it.
Oh, he's feeling it right now. Drops down the ward, says thank you very much. That's going to hit Fnatic where it hurts, and that's the mid lane right now.
2 perfect movements. And now mid one is... He is not happy. He was struggling already a bit in the CS department, and then losing his bottle, getting no real help from the Riki either. It's really hurting him right now.
He's going to have to
They got the move now on Dendy,
his tiptoes. Mid lane, though, yep, they get the nice strike. Just when I try to even think about criticizing 343 about moving around the map, he does show up in the mid lane. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to take down Dendy, so they'll have to let that one go. But you could just see Fnatic are ready to rally behind mid one if possible when they know he's a bit weak. But so Nico, you blink one moment, he's doing something else elsewhere, and he's going to be able to strike and take down that 343 Riki. He's on fire right now in the early game.
Exactly what he needs to be doing, making all the moves on the map. All three kills for Na'Vi were because of him. He also gets the courier too, so this is the dream for Senego here. Honestly, you couldn't ask for more from your bounty hunter.
He's like, you kids keep your fancy new Riki. I got bounty hunter, and I'll show you really what it's all about. And with all these kills coming together, he's going to get a quick level 6. He's going to get a quick track, and Navi's going to be very happy about that one. Fnatic looking to kind of get some momentum back their way here at the bottom lane. They're in pursuit. Can they get to Ira? The Moonlight Shadow does come out from Dendy. Keeps him good for now, but not good enough. Eventually the chase will be on, and they'll be able to sense him and take him down. Meanwhile, top lane, so Nico, MVP of the early game right now, in a bit of trouble, but that same Midnight Shadow keeps him alive, but not for Luna. They're going to be able to take her down. It's Na'Vi who get another strike their way. Mid one suddenly shows up in the top lane, and he's in pursuit, and he will be able to get the takedown of Dazzle. It's absolute bloodshed all over this top lane, as they will also find another kill. It's General picking up a double at the end of the day.
And Senego denies himself.
Just ridiculous.
Also, I think Ditchira was trying to complete his, or pick up parts of his Soul Ring, and he actually completes Tranquil Boots on the Clinks, I believe. I saw that right before he died, so...
Uh-oh.
That's definitely not what he wanted.
These shoes feel weird on my skeleton feet. That's not a normal matchup right there.
Yeah, we've seen this happen. We saw it happen to Tumba Man at the Manila Major too, accidentally building the Tranquil Boots, trying to build up to the Basilius or Soul Ring.
Can these fancy shoes get you out of trouble, though, Ditchira? Oh, another bash conveniently coming up for Ohio. They drop down the smoke. He turns around, lashes out some auto attacks on the 343, but it's not going to be enough. He makes it away.
10
Dendy
HP.
steps in, intercepts, and is able to help out. Meanwhile, Soniko continues the chase and finishes off 343. And now they're thinking about maybe making go on Ohio. Arrow not going to be catched. Ohio does a sidestep and will avoid it. But Na'Vi doing their Na'Vi game and doing it well. 6-3 already.
Senego putting so much pressure on these lanes. Moving mid, moving mid, moving top. Like the top dive was pretty incredible. He ends up getting a double kill basically for General, suiciding himself to neutrals. Mushi's getting extremely pressured.
Burrow, ooh, just out of range. I mean, it was good on the AoE, but you have to factor in the extra few steps Mushi will be able to get away from. And now look at them quick to turn the pace back around. Oh, Artstyle
looks very in trouble here.
He's trying to move on forward, and unfortunately he walks right into the posse of Fnatic, and they make quick work of him. They're going to look for a possible follow-up, trying to get a hold of General here. He turns the corner towards the side shot, but look who's there to body block him a bit. It's the Riki. Slashes him in the back. They get the Lucent Beam, slow him down with a smoke screen, and they'll get it done. They take down General.
That actually worked. I didn't think they'd get him because of the cooldown from Smokescreen, but that extra duration of stun from the Lucent Beam in conjunction with the Ice Vortex was just enough time to slow him down for it to come back up.
It feels like they don't have any sort of natural chase power, but they just threw everything together and somehow managed to make a good catch-up play there.
Yep.
And Fnatic letting Na'Vi know that they're not going to be bullied around so easy in the laning phase, specifically by this bounty hunter.
Midwin, though, struggling a bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't really have any stacks to back up on either, which he did have yesterday when he was hindered a bit on that Ember Spirit.
That is the weakness, of course, as many know with Ember Spirit. You really put a lot of value in having a good head start, and when you don't have a good start, it's quite the process to build up a recovery play.
Yeah. I think here the supports from Fnatic should be, at least the Riki should be following around the bounty as best as possible. Oh my, he gets the
again, twice in one game. So Nico, the chicken assassin.
At least Midwin got his bottle and stuff off the courier before it died again. That could have been disastrous, but yeah, they should be. The Riki should try to be just following around the bounty hunter while the supports, or at least the Riki can even place an Obs and a Sentry Ward on the river, so you can at least keep track of those movements from the bounty hunter. You don't want to be getting caught off guard like that so often.
He's got track now, track money. He's faking here. He does not want to get baited into an awkward situation, and now we have more reinforcements coming in. Sentry's been dropped. They see Soniko, but the Moonlight Shadow also comes out. Are they going to make the move for the bounty hunter? It looks like they are. They're on pursuit. Can Soniko make it away out of the distance of the Sentry? It looks like he's good for now. There is a dust. Oh, that's on bounty hunter. I don't know if there's a dust on any other Fnatic members here, but
that was a little awkward.
Yeah, they're able to make it away. Yeah, that was definitely a bit awkward. Oh, 343 walks into a sentry from the other side, and he'll actually go down. Na'Vi all up here. The family of yellow is here to play. Fnatic need to be very careful.
Yep,
already tracks are coming out. Oh, arrow just off the mark on that one.
They do have the 6 on the Luna, though. It's pretty scary to dive into that with the Chronosphere on top.
Yeah. I don't know if Na'Vi are waiting in hopes that maybe the creep wave will be there under the tower to help soak up any potential eclipse, but they can't linger around too long without getting anything done here. So some of them have split off. This leaves pretty much the whole bottom half of the map for Ditya, but also for mid 1 too. So both cores are taking advantage of this.
Yeah, this early game, though, obviously leading heavily for Na'Vi with those 2 courier snipes, couple extra kills. Soneko's movement on the map has been perfect. He has 100% kill involvement, and he killed 2 couriers as well on top. So
yeah. Bounty Hunter players out there, take note, watch this replay for a beautiful start to the game so far. And now it's just on Na'Vi if they want to make the most out of the track follow-up here. Good stun, heal combo, brings Mushi below half of his life, but he still has that Eclipse in the pocket, just in case Na'Vi get a bit too frisky here.
DJ,
Oh, but they don't want to go for Mushi. They make the move for DJ instead, and even then, General's playing this one a bit safe, trying to juke and jive now within the trees. Ohio committing in straight up north, and he does commit the Chrono as he spots out the Sand King here, and it's from the outside that both of the Fnatic teammates will be able to contribute a little bit of damage that gets the finish.
Completely defensive Chrono use, though. Not in an aggressive manner at all, not in a way to take an objective. We usually see the Chrono, like, you make the move to the Void's lane rather than the Void making the move to your lane. So a little bit of an awkward use. Still gets the kill, which is great for them, just to get a little bit of a net worth.
No, you're absolutely right. Obviously, in the best case scenario for your Void, you're looking to debut your Chrono by setting up a huge momentum swinging fight. But this one, very defensive, and Na'Vi dictating when it's going to be used. Ice Blast flies in, the first one of the game, going to be connecting on not 1 but 2 there. So Nico needs the Grave to stay alive, but Artstyle doesn't have a Grave for himself. But suddenly a turnaround play. It's General who shows up just in time with a beautiful Burrow Strike, and he secures a mega kill streak for himself. Wonderful play from Na'Vi.
I think that last tick of the Ice Blast was going to take him out too, but he still had the Shallow Grave on him, so he lives with, like, what? With like that 1 or 11 HP that he would have died from.
Yep. Wonderful play.
Putting pressure on Mushi a lot here.
Okay, still has that Eclipse. Mushi's hoping that maybe he could hide in the shadows and only hit with some good connecting blows, or maybe just straight up juke. See you later, Ditya. Where are you?
You know, this is like a standard, though. We've talked about it a little bit in the past in a couple of the games. When you see this Luna and his safe lane gets pressured so hard, you kind of just don't really know where to go. His tower's not even taken yet, but he felt obligated to move to that off lane. And whenever I feel like whenever we see this happen, it's like the Luna's just like already in such a crappy position. He's just so pressured. He doesn't know where to go. Exactly. Lost.
Her and Ember, you know, it's like they both need this farm. They need somewhere. One's going to take one. The other one is going to be stuck searching around for little bits of breadcrumbs, if anything. So, but this was expected when you see the lineup already on paper. Fnatic definitely a team that peaks more into the later portion of this game. Even goes along with the stats that Nahaza posted earlier that Dire usually succeed in later portions of the game. But Na'Vi looking to enhance that the Radiant early game is far superior than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, they picked a heavy tri-core lineup with a Riki and an AA, so you know that their timings are late because, you know, AA even he wants his 6 ideally. He's relatively strong in laning phase, but he's not a stun. He's not a real disable or anything. He's just an AoE damage potential in team fights. So
Fnatic trying to what looks like possibly be laying a trap for a 12-minute rune jump, but Na'Vi not in the neighborhood. But they end up going into the Na'Vi neighborhood, but they go right into the up ground, or the high ground rather, and Na'Vi are there waiting for him and take him down. Not just 1, maybe 2 as they make the jump for the Riki. The Riki, though, able to make his own jump over to his ally and make some space. Moves in, pops the dust, but Fnatic are not on board with pursuing any further. Do lose mid 1, though, Fog. A hard hit.
Another arrow from Dendi. This time catching on mid 1 instead of the Riki, getting the kill. They even take that top tower from earlier too, so even more looking good for Na'Vi, putting wards out all over the map, getting more information. Just a lot of map control, and they're doing this is more than ideal for what they wanted in this early game.
Arrow swing and a miss in the mid lane right there. What is the build-up here for Soniko? Because I saw the chainmail on Dazzle, and then Soniko typically, you know, could be a mech candidate on the Bounty Hunter, but
I think he's still going to be the mech candidate. I think Dazzle's going to be going for that medallion that we do see.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
They don't really have the best like Roche potential on their lineup, so I guess, I mean, Clinks is decent, and then, of course, like with the medallion, it really amplifies it. But it looks like the Clinks is actually going to be going for that Orchid since he is versus the, I mean, even the Void and the Ember. It's very good verse.
Absolutely.
Very unfortunate, though, that he does have those Tranquil Boots.
So overall, you would say Na'Vi itemizing appropriately for the position they're in, the momentum they have. Because we've seen plenty of games this tournament where you feel like one team has all the momentum their way, and then they itemize in a way where maybe they're overconfident about the position they're in, and next thing you know, the other team is able to come back, and they're not prepared for it. Feels like Na'Vi are, you know, working everything out in a beautiful cookie-cutter fashion.
Yeah, preparing in a very good fashion, definitely.
Okay, now Fnatic, though, we have to look their way now that we know that Na'Vi have pretty much everything they can ask for at this point in the game. What are Fnatic going to do? And the first thing they want to do is make a jump to the bottom lane, but a burrow sidesteps and avoids the Ice Blast. But look who sneaks in from behind. It's the little dirty Dityara moving in and popping off the Searing Arrows. Gets the one swift kill. Ohio shows up, drops down the chrono. It is going to be on to 2. Can they get the finish for General? Oh, a Shallow Grave is going to be there and keeps him alive. Can he make it away and create the space? Does get a burrow off for Mushi. Can they help finish him off? They can! Dendy steps in with a Starstorm and will get it done and gets the follow-up kill. Na'Vi looking to completely take over this game number 1 of Best of 3 series. Finishes with Dityara getting a killing spree, and we're not done yet, so Nico gets another one.
Oh, and they're going to
take it down. It's going to be a 5-man wipe with a track to sprinkle on top of this beautiful and delicious Na'Vi cake. He does make a valiant jump over, but it's not going to be good enough. Dendy gets that one. He gets a killing spree, and Na'Vi are up and above at 14-6.
Woo! 4 or 5 track kills there. But
oh, man.
Nobody dies on the side of Na'Vi. Perfect grave. Unfortunate chains from mid one when they were going on the Sanking when he was inside the smoke screen. It catches him a bit late. He wanted to make sure that it would catch him, so he didn't want to use it and get it on the creeps. So St. General actually gets a little bit of time, gets the burrow out, and then they just turn the fight around by outnumbering Fnatic. Fnatic even comes in, they commit the Chronosphere, they commit the Luna ultimate, they commit all of their high cooldown ultimates, and lose the fight in a disastrous fashion. So this is looking very bad for Fnatic now.
Just before that whole thing broke out, I'm like reaching out to Fnatic, like what? Now we know what Na'Vi are doing and how they're doing it right. What do Fnatic need to do? They make that valiant jump for General, and it just goes absolute haywire. And Na'Vi are able to sweep on in and make a beautiful counterplay. And now they're just up and beyond. You already mentioned the amount of track gold sweeping their way. They conclude that fight with a, I don't think they actually got that tier 2 tower, so they got a little bit of extra money, but...
And it does look like the Dazzle is actually building the mech, so instead of going for that medallion, he's going for that mech for himself.
Oh, so I'm curious what Suniko's going to do. Meanwhile, easy kill on the Iceman. DJ's going to crumble apart into a nice little icy slushy there.
Suniko went for a Force Staff instead, so just a little bit of swapping between the two players there for their item decisions.
Yeah, got to get that Hurricane Pike on your Bounty Hunter.
I mean,
that's the item.
He's making all the moves right now. Dazzle, it makes more sense to have on the Dazzle like, overall for the theme of the game, just because, you know, you want to group around your Dazzle, not your Bounty so much.
A hope for Fnatic here is that Na'Vi are far enough ahead where there could be maybe a small rubber band of net worth flinging back the Fnatic way if they can get off a high-priced target here. They've been stalking Dityara for quite a while, and he is second highest in net worth, only to Dendy. Which would be nice, but it's a couple of steps ahead. Fnatic really need, you know, to start trying to find that momentum because, I mean, they have wonderful late game on paper. It's just at this rate, there isn't going to be no late game to fall back on.
Yeah, Na'Vi needs to just keep the pressure up, though. Fnatic does have some decent wards in the enemy jungle, but Ohio, there's an Orchid here.
And he's under the tower, so obviously Dityara doesn't want to get too close, so Nico, though, is not afraid. Maybe they were trying to wait for him to come in with a track, but... timing is not going to be there. Ohio gets the brief glimpse of the Bounty Hunter and just gets out.
Also, like you're mentioning, the rubber band effect. They like diving under their tier 2 there. They don't see everybody. Just a little bit risky. Don't want to blow away your lead.
That's how memes are made.
Yeah. I mean, they're in such a commanding position right now. They don't need to play too risky. They can play a bit safe. Just take down these last few tier 2s. Take the fights on your own account when you see the information, when you see Fnatic's members, where they are and what they're doing.
Back into the grind, mid one here, still only sporting his boots of travel, but at least we'll be able to farm with some company nearby. 343 will continue to watch him about, but Na'Vi have obviously kind of pumped the brakes a bit on their aggression, only looking for some safe pick-off plays here and just kind of getting back into their own grind of farm. We'll have to wait to see what the next peaking moment's going to be. As we see, Dendy already has his Agnums complete, so his farm potential is just going to grow tremendously here, but it looks like Na'Vi are going to be sending in some reinforcements because Fnatic, hello, how you doing? So Nico might be taking the gank on this one. It looks like he will. Are Na'Vi going to consider a counterplay? They already have a TP in. They're going to cancel it. So Fnatic will be graced with one nice little Bounty Hunter pick, but they're not done, actually. They're making a move on in. They saw Dendy leap into the woods, and they will not catch her in time. That Eclipse Beam, I thought was a Lucent Beam at first, is not going to be able to cancel it. Meanwhile, on the other side, another bring in as they take down the following art style support. Oh, look at this. Ohio intercepts and catches General and Ditya trying to come to the bottom lane. General's going to be in trouble here. They popped out the dust. He's able to burrow and Sandstorm and Blink. Oh, he makes it out. That was close. Fnatic just getting one by one, anything they can grab to get themselves back.
Yeah, 2 nice little kills on the supports. However, the really nice thing for Na'Vi is that it's actually not going to lose them that tier 1, which is pretty miraculous. And they defend what they really wanted to with that movement. So nothing like horrible loss. Of course, some money gained for Fnatic, but...
Money gained, but it's just the 2 supports in Na'Vi. And it gets a little bump downward, but nothing too threatening here for Na'Vi yet. Uh-oh. No tier 2 in the top lane now for Mushi to hide under, but he's just like, something ain't right. I'm going back home. Can he make it back home, though?
Should be fine, yeah.
It looks like he'll be fine.
Dragon Lance. Yeah, only level 1 strafe as well, as our amazing observer is pointing out.
Yep, that's Mott, by the way. He's awake for today, but he is in obs mode. Yeah. Here's Sonico now rounding the bend. He's already had his 4-staff complete. I don't know if he actually... Oh, he probably doesn't have anything else saved up because he did just die. So, imagine he's good here. How much time do you think Na'Vi have to play with here before it's kind of, you know, let's get serious. Let's get these tier 2s down and let's move on in. Are they waiting out for their own potential to be able to do the Roche? Or...
Well, they definitely farm faster than Fnatic, just with their items and everything they build up. They pressure and they move the map in and kind of like collapse on Fnatic harder. So I don't think they're on too much of a timing window just yet, just because of that factor.
Another bit of harassment here. Looks like we'll be able to time walk off the damage. Meanwhile, down in front of the Roche pit, bit of a trade. Tricks of the trade comes out from 343, and Mid-Wan just kind of stepping in with a slide of the fist, but they both get hit up with a track, and they get on back. They are going to be spotted, though. General in pursuit, goes for the burrow, and they will get the quick assassination, taking out Captain 343 on the back lines. Are they done there, though? Man, look at all the damage that Dig is able to pump out, but look at the counterplay. 3-man Chrono, slide of fist, but no real damage. Follow-up is going to be there by Fnatic. But now moving in is going to be Mushi with the Eclipse, and he's going to be able to blow up Sonico. General follows up, though, with a huge Epi himself, and they're going to get the cleanup of Mushi. Meanwhile, they move back over. Mid-Wan, orchid it up. He gets a kill, but he will lose his own life for it. Na'Vi still getting out the better end of this fight, and with a follow-up that looks like could be happening here on the tier 2.
Yep, decent though for Fnatic. They blow their 2 ultimates, so I expect they should grab a few kills.
Are you serious? She got that arrow.
Don't think they see him. Yeah, no reveal. Oh,
General said I got him. He moves in. Sandstorm, he's trying to whittle him down if possible. It's actually going to force out the tricks of the trade here. General makes it back towards the safety of his team. And with that, I don't think Na'Vi are going to be able to finish up this tier 2. Fun little play by them. They almost get a bit too excited, but they will make it out with their lives. Na'Vi, though, still letting everyone know that they are the enforcers in this game, and it's still pressure on Fnatic to kind of be able to step up and defend if possible. But
it's a hood on Void.
Oh, wow. Fearsome of the Starfall damage, I guess, and obviously the Sand King.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good item. The pipe in general versus this game versus the Sand King is very good, and versus the Mirana, as you were mentioning.
So, yeah, that could shrug off a huge burst of the damage that Na'Vi look to bring in these fights. Does mean that, you know, Void is going to sacrifice any sort of damage he'll bring to the table, but you do have the Ember and the Luna to make up for that.
I think this could be time for Na'Vi to just get a gem. I don't think they need to really worry about too much else going on. They don't really need to worry about 900 gold for anything else. So, yeah, Mid-Wan picking up his Perseverance on his way toward that Battle Fury, but yeah, I think getting the gem here, just you close up the little bit of map control that Fnatic has, and you catch that pesky Riki, which is getting a lot of information.
That sounds like the safe play here, but is that what Na'Vi want to do? We were looking at General earlier, and he was sitting on like well over 2K worth of gold.
I think we'll probably see it picked up soon.
But it would be nice to be able to control the map a bit more and limit the options here for Fnatic. And if you're Fnatic, take advantage of this opportunity while Na'Vi don't have that bit of extra vision and just get some vision out yourself. Arrow flying from the bottom lane here. Close, but no cigar for Dendi on that one. But just Na'Vi kind of making sure they can keep these lanes pushed back out. And they continue to find a lot of farm here on Ditya. What's Ditya got?
Dragonlance.
Dragonlance.
Okay.
Okay.
Looking good.
What do you think are going to get next for little Ditya here? Orchid, Dragonlance, and then do you need to consider something defensive?
Safe play is the the obvious BKB.
That's safe though.
And then his unsafe play, I guess you could just go the Daedalus, the Bloodthorn. I don't know about Bloodthorn.
Hell yeah. Maybe.
Maybe even a Deso, so they have like tower hitting potential because they don't really have anyone else who can hit buildings.
Yeah, that's true too. Na'Vi smoked up mid lane. Mid one's close. He's got to be careful here. There's not close catch here except for an arrow, so it looks like he'll be safe. Unless General's around, that's when the trouble really comes. There he is. Na'Vi in Roche territory now. We already mentioned before how Na'Vi's lineup isn't the fastest at doing the Roche. Uh-oh, Fnatic are actually on the high ground here on the Na'Vi side. Could be a good position for them, but Na'Vi take their time approaching into the high ground until Dendi's there to kind of scout it out. And that's going to be enough to force Fnatic off to the right-hand side. So they just want to finish off this Tier 1 gateway for Na'Vi if they can, while Na'Vi want to see if they can maybe take a follow-up fight. With a big fight, Na'Vi can then comfortably do the Roche, but obviously Na'Vi not comfortable doing it with Fnatic still all out there.
Yeah, definitely a bit of time wasted for Na'Vi, so we should see the graph swing a little bit to Fnatic's favor, but not too much.
Especially once
they do pick up that gem, as I was mentioning.
Yeah, it seems to be plateaued for now, but once like that Battle Fury gets complete for mid one's Ember Spirit, and Mushi's damage begins to kind of skyrocket a bit, their farm will really accelerate here. Oh, 3-4-3, going to be forced to dish out the tricks of the trade to stay alive. Meanwhile, General kind of flirting around with mid one a bit, gets forced back into safety, and they allow 3-4-3 to make a nice little jump to the high ground. General says, no, you're not going anywhere, jumps in with a Burrow Strike, but they still won't get the finish yet. Meanwhile, over, DJ going to get hit with a track, turnaround Eclipse, a lot of damage for Ditya. Grave, but a beautiful follow-up. Chrono comes out from Ohio to lock him in place, but the turnaround play from General. Oh, what an epicenter, right into the heart of Fnatic, and does force him back. No one to go down except for 3-4-3, but there's going to be the follow-up takedown of the AA. Can they get Mushi? Dendi wants him. Old rivals of Dota going toe-to-toe, and it's going to be Dendi who gets the last shot in the ass right there and takes him down. Na'Vi with a 1-for-3 trade, and now they can securely move back and take some objectives. Ohio, though, still in lane, farming. Gets hit up with a track. Time Walk makes it back and away here. Dendi looking to lamp the shot. Won't even go for it. But Na'Vi now will easily get this Tier 2, and we'll have to see if they want to move forward and pressure the Mushi buyback or maybe double back for the Roche. It looks like it will be the latter.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of over-eagerness from Artstyle at first in that running up that hill, getting the Orchid on the Void. And then he gets basically, he eats the whole Eclipse. A really good Chrono coming out from Ohio, but perfect positioning there from General to get that epicenter in. Doesn't catch the stun on multiple heroes, but the damage was done with what he needed to do. And like we were saying, they clean up Mushi, get a few kills. And now General is going to be picking up that Aghanim Scepter very soon, which is going to help his initiation range.
Definitely our highlight team fate of this game so far. General just doing his job, waiting in the pocket. Happened to be at the right place at the right time to at least avoid the Chrono and then jump up over it to catch all of Fnatic's backstaff there. Na'Vi now in the pit, but can they do it fast enough here? Looks like an Ice Blast already flying out from the AA will be beautifully connected across 3. And that's more than enough for them to kind of get scurried out. So Nico's pretty low from this. I imagine it's probably a level 2 Ice Blast at least by now, so does a little bit of time. Oh my god, it's only level 1. Poor guy's pretty low on the XP charts.
Yep. Yeah, without that medallion that we were mentioning, their damage for Roche is pretty low. They don't have the Deso on Clinks.
Do they just have a Blightstone, right? Someone's
I
gotta have
don't think
it.
they do, actually.
Oh, that is just sad.
Yeah, they do have the Ethereal Blade now for Dendi, though, so he's actually enormous.
Yes.
His damage potential, his
Sleight
damage
of
burst.
Fist, Age of Steel. Do we believe? He went for it, but it was a bit early. Okay, Ohio says, I'm here now, boys.
Oh,
what are you
no.
going to do, Ohio?
Ohio.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Jumps right in, eats the Eth Blade, gets hit with a Star Storm. He was there. He was feeling it. He went in, but it was too late. And then at that point, he was already committed, and it was just unfortunately too awkward.
Yeah, awkward would definitely be the word to use.
Oh, no. Now there is no Chronosphere to worry about here if you're Na'Vi. You have an Aegis. You have an extra life. Let's take a Tier 2, and let's try to do some work
4-3.
inside the base.
Oh.
What's happening? Fnatic falling apart. Tried to go for a TP, didn't make it out. Oh no! Jumps right into the support, which leads to a double stun in General. A victory epi, it feels like, right on top of it. No, things crumbling apart for Fnatic here on the back end of game number 1. This leads to an easy Tier 2 takedown for Na'Vi, and now they make their approach into the Fnatic base.
Mid one does, however, get bottom tower at least, so their efforts were not in vain for that eventually.
Gotta be careful, though. You cannot risk dancing like that in front of Na'Vi. They will try to punish. General is just on the mark with these stuns, with these setups. Na'Vi, as we know, though, without having the Deso, an AC, any sort of serious like armor,
any siege,
deduction, any siege, they can't take the base that fast.
Yep, they do have now this enormous art style Dazzle with a Crimson Guard and a mech. So he's just a little bit tanky, you could say, just a tiny bit.
Yeah, it would be a real shame if Fnatic decided to really jump on this Dazzle and force a lot of pressure onto him only. Yeah. But come on, let's get a Blightstone or something, fellas. Your sieging potential is lacking a bit, and you're taking huge fights, and you know that you could do a bit more in this window of opportunity, but the time goes on, and Fnatic are happy to take more time in this game.
Na'Vi are hero killers, not objective takers. Come on, let's be real here.
Fnatic thinking that maybe they can be hero killers themselves. Smoke through this top lane right now, but they'll
catch the scan. They do get the Na'Vi heroes scanned up, so they do know they're there. But I don't know if that's the best place for them to really take a fight.
Mushi!
Does he catch the arrow? Oh, no!
Hit him right in the side. It was a T-bone hit. And that is going to be Dendi, godlike, as he finishes off Mushi. Wonderful, wonderful connection there by Dendi.
When the arrow hits just right.
Mwah! And now Na'Vi, let's see if they want to kind of hang around. Mushi does have a buyback, but otherwise would need to wait 40 seconds for the spawn. The creep wave's already here. Fnatic are trying to keep maybe the top lane pushed out as fast as possible, but really none of their lanes are too far down, except for the bottom lane is actually pretty far, but not far enough. Na'Vi are going to be glad to stay here and see if they can either get the buyback or at least get the tier 3, some damage on the racks. Here comes the sleight of fists, the smoke screen, everything Fnatic can pull out to slow down Na'Vi.
Yep. Ditcha has a Mithril Hammer, so more than likely the BKB, but still leaving his options open for the Deso.
Long burrow, catches on mid-1 with the Orchid follow-up. Dendi says, I'll finish it, jumps right in, hits him with a Starstorm combo and takes him down. Epi's going to be committed here from General, and that's going to force Fnatic back. General connects with the burrow strike here for Ohio. Can they finish him off before he time walks? Yes, they can. They'll take him down, and Na'Vi might have just put the nail in the coffin, but here comes Mushi back from the dead, back from that arrow connection, steps in with the Eclipse, BK beat up, but still doesn't have enough firepower to finish anyone off. It's all mitigated between Na'Vi, and it's not going to do enough. Mushi still, though, like a warrior, wants to stand and fight, but ultimately he will fall. He goes down for the second time now, and this looks to be the mid laner rack secured for Na'Vi.
Yeah, should probably be GG's call too. Just way too many track kills. Just yeah, it's just too much at this point. They have too many items. You can't really even just muster through them.
Really felt like Na'Vi were able to do everything they wanted through the early part of this game. Can't give enough credit to Sonico to help them out in the early laning stage. He was actually the first, one of the first, if not the first, to fall in that bottom lane. And ever since then, he got right to work at the top lane, made his approach pretty much on all fronts, got the 2 courier kills, got track online right away, and put it right to work.
He's like, are you going to bash me? Are you going to bash me? I will double kill your safe lane and kill your courier tools.
Oh, that's right. Okay, Fnatic, you want to believe in RNG? Okay, that's good. And he went right to work. Whew. It's a great opening match here for Na'Vi.
Yep.
Fnatic not looking to tap out quick, though. Looks like they are going to be down 2 sets of racks. Still have the southern racks to hold on, but 30K plus net worth lead. Something about how teams pretty much never win from a comeback like that. You would be looking at seriously the biggest 3-2-2 in history at that point. But,
definitely up there.
But hey, you know, we do have a full best of 3 ahead of us. Fnatic could be game planning already what happened here.
Let's go General with the Battle Fury.
Battle Fury Sand King. Good luck getting creeps to move anywhere across this map, at least toward the Na'Vi side, that's for sure.
I mean, it's...
I want to see how fast he just cleans through creeps like butter.
Yeah, he wants to push waves in faster, and he wants to do some deeps. That's pretty much what I see with this one. We do see the Bloodthorn finished up for Clank. So.
That used to be a somewhat decent pickup back in the day on Sand King and Magnus, if I'm not mistaken. Like Dota 1, people
like 9 years ago.
9 years ago when Dota Battle Fury was a much better item. You used to get 3 of them on Juggernaut.
When Bottle didn't exist and everybody would just mass perseverances because there was no such thing as consumables.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you Tango noob.
What's a Tango? Perseverance.
Just get the ring.
You gotta get that. You gotta get that 1 wood so you can buy your perseverance. Though.
There you go. Okay, though. Fnatic, as mentioned, never say die. They look to take a big fight here deep into Na'Vi territory to catch him by surprise if possible. 3-4-3 commits him with the smoke, but he falls just as fast as he dishes out that smoke. And now the rest of Fnatic could already be on the desperate lead out, but it's not going to be happening. General's there. Huge epicenter connected. Chrono going to be dropped by Ohio. A valiant one at that, but still not going to be enough. They can't get anyone from Na'Vi down, and they're not going to get anyone. Arcel gets off the grave and stays alive. Fnatic lose 4 already. Only mid one is going to be there to survive, but it's not getting any easier for them. Na'Vi continue to claim lives, claim more track money. Fnatic, it's over.
Yeah, it's
over.
3 track kills. Na'Vi's, they just have way too much money. There's no way that Fnatic can take fights at this point. They drafted a a late game draft, and it just not playing versus Na'Vi, especially the way that they played this game, it's not possible to make it to that point.
Boom. Blasted. And
Yeah,
that
GG.
will do it. Fnatic throw in the towel, and Na'Vi will take game number 1 of this lower bracket final best of 3. One of their better dominant showings. I mean, we were expecting Fnatic to be a real tough challenge for them. And they didn't make it look like tough, not in game 1.
Seneko God this game.
Yeah.
honestly.
Seneko gets to go back to his old bounty hunter roots. Shows Fnatic how to run it in Viz 4.
Yeah. Everyone on the side of Na'Vi overall like played exactly how they needed to. They did their jobs, but Seneko just far and above. He put so much pressure on all the lanes, killed the courier with the empty bottle on it from mid 1. Then he kills the courier again as soon as mid 1 gets it back. So the first like 6 minutes or so was completely, actually even more, the first like 9 minutes or so was completely controlled by Seneko. And yeah, it just leads them to their victory. We even talked about it in the draft how Na'Vi's laning phase is much stronger, and yep, they just ran away with their lead that they took was from Seneko.
Well, Na'Vi look relaxed, happy, calm, collected, but they're not done yet. They need to get one more win if they want to secure their chance to face off against Secret in that grand final. That's Fogged. I'm KotLGuy. We're going to cut to a small break. When we come back, we're going to hop into Game 2 of Fnatic versus Na'Vi. We'll see you soon.
E-gaming bets. We accept bets on computer games online.